Okay, are you ready? All right, let's go and get started again. We have one, two, three, we have four. We have about 5 or 6 sessions before lunch. So we're on for a good ride here. So first up, we have Alissa Cole, who's a fishery biologist with the Department of Fish and Game, going to talk to us about commercial fisheries in Prince William Sound.
Hi everyone, can you hear me okay? A little closer, okay. Hi, my name is Alissa Cole and I'm a Fisheries Biologist 1 for the Alaska Department of Fish and Game for the Prince William Sound and Cook Inlet area, working out of the Homer office. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our commercial groundfish and shellfish fisheries. Here I have a brief outline. I'm going to mention the mission of the department, give you a broad overview of commercial fisheries management in Alaska, get into some fishery-specific information on sablefish, rockfish, and shrimp, and then wrap up by touching on our port sampling program. The mission of the department is to protect, maintain, and improve the fish, game, and aquatic plant resources of the state and manage their use and development in the best interest of the economy and the well-being of the people of the state, consistent with the sustained yield principle. While many of you are probably very familiar with Prince William Sound, I want to reintroduce it to you in the context of commercial groundfish. The Sound is broken up into 2 districts, the inside district and the outside district, depicted here with the dashed line. We have management authority over all commercial groundfish species within 3 nautical miles. We also have management authority over lingcod in the federal EEZ, which extends out to 200 nautical miles because there's no stock assessment or fisheries management plan in regulation. Additionally, we have management authority over some rockfish species in this area. That includes black, dusky, and blue rockfish. These nearshore species have very little habitat in this area, and there's little harvest in federal waters. Prince William Sound has a complex coast, protected waters, and close proximity to the Gulf of Alaska, and supports a broad range of marine life. There's a long history of commercial fishing here. And when you think about the Sound, you might think about Copper River sockeye or Copper River kings, but it is also home to prized groundfish and shellfish species. We have both large and small-scale fisheries to offer. For example, in the Sound, there's harvested about 9 million pounds of pollock annually, compared to our sea cucumber fishery that Ben just talked about, which harvested 3,000 to 4,000 pounds this past year. There's also year-round opportunity for harvest, and many of our participants participate in more than one of our fisheries. To give you a broad overview of commercial fisheries management in the state, which requires vessels to register with the department prior to fishing. Though this is usually restricted, and then legal gear is restricted to longline hook, pelagic trawl, hand trawl and mechanical jig, dingle bar troll, and pots. Though this is usually further restricted by area and fishery. Fish tickets are also required within 7 days of landing. This gives managers information on harvest in season and allows us to meet harvest quota without exceeding the limits. Additionally, most fisheries have check-in and check-out requirements. This gives managers numbers of vessels on the fishing grounds. Logbooks are also often required, which gives information on catch per unit of effort, or CPUE. There are 4 types of commercial fisheries within Prince William Sound. There's open access, which allows anyone to participate with the correct permits and licenses. And then there's limited entry. We have one of these in Prince William Sound. That's our sablefish fishery. We'll get into more details later. We also have a commissioner's permit fishery, which provides harvest opportunity without a fisheries management plan and regulation. Our sea cucumber fishery falls under this category. A few of these commissioner permits are issued annually. And then we have bycatch, which is harvest of non-target species. In Prince William Sound, this is mostly related to rockfish, though we do have some octopus and squid bycatch in our pollock fishery. While I wish that I could take you through a calendar year of Prince William Sound groundfish and shellfish fisheries, we don't have all day. So I'm going to highlight all of the fisheries that we have and their season dates, and then get into 3 of our favorites further. The year starts out with Pacific cod. This opens January 1st, along with our rockfish bycatch and our directed octopus fishery. Then pollock opens January 20th, followed by our sablefish fishery in mid-March, and then we have spot shrimp. That opens May 1st, and then harvest of lingcod opens July 1st, and then our sea cucumber fishery in mid-October. This is also the time that we're doing our spot shrimp survey. There's a diverse array of commercial fisheries, and it lends itself to a dynamic job. There's always a GHL to monitor, bycatch to track, ports to be sampled, and surveys to be accomplished. In addition to our fun fieldwork and our day-to-day management, we're also preparing for future Board of Fish meetings, which require meetings with stakeholders, reports to write, and regulations to comment on. Getting into some of our fishery-specific information, I'm going to start with sablefish. They live to a maximum age of 50 in Prince William Sound, and the oldest reported age is 94 years old in Alaska. They mature around 5 to 7 years old, and spawning occurs in the winter and spring. They can be found at depths of 300 to 500 meters, and a female sablefish lays around 400,000 eggs annually. They also move between deep coastal waters and the international shelf to feed, making them very important to the ecosystem. Like I mentioned earlier, sablefish is limited entry, which limits the maximum number of participants that can participate. Harvest is restricted to the inside district. The sablefish GHL, or guideline harvest level, is derived from the federal Gulf of Alaska longline hook and trawl surveys. The department calculates the annual Prince William Sound GHL in proportion to this change. Gear is limited to longline hook and longline pop. I have a picture of slinky pots here on the right hand of the screen. They have increased in popularity in recent years, which has reduced rockfish bycatch and whale depredation. The season opens concurrently with federal IFQ halibut, which is in mid-March and closes December 31st. Here I have a figure of sablefish ex-vessel value, which refers to the monetary value of sablefish sold in Alaska in price per pound. There's a few things that I would like to point out. You can see that a low year in 2020, sablefish in Alaska was still worth almost $1 billion. That's a lot. And in 2022, it was almost $2 billion. There's also one more thing I'd like to point out. Sablefish have been sold more fresh in the last 3 years than previously. While Prince William Sound likely compromises a small amount of the total ex-vessel value of sablefish in Alaska, it still provides significant income to those who participate in the fishery. Moving on to rockfish. These are only harvested as bycatch in Prince William Sound. There is no directed fishery for them. They are a long-lived species with black rockfish living between 20 and 40 years old, though this differs by sex. And yellow-eye rockfish live 60 to over 100 years. While they're very fecund, laying up to 3 million eggs, they're known to skip spawn, so they don't spawn every year. They also give live birth. They go through a multiple-month gestation period before releasing their larvae in the summer. However, black rockfish release their larvae in the winter. Rockfish also have a closed swim bladder. That means that they can't easily release gases when brought to the surface, and their stomach is often protruding out of their mouth and their eyes are bulging. This increases discard mortality and is one of the reasons that we have mandatory retention in our commercial fisheries. As I mentioned, rockfish are only harvested as bycatch. This picture on the upper right hand of the screen is a yellow-eye harvested in our longline Pacific cod fishery here in the Sound. And there's mandatory retention except in our directed lingcod fishery, which can be released down to capture at depth with a deep water release mechanism. There's also static GHL for all rockfish at 150,000 pounds combined. Here I have a figure of rockfish harvest by year and fishery. There's a few things that I want to point out. It highlights the challenges to managing bycatch with mandatory retention. You can see that we've exceeded the GHL in recent years. There's also one other trend that I would like to point out. Prior to 2021, most rockfish were harvested as Pacific cod, pollock, and sablefish fisheries. However, recently, halibut has compromised a large portion of the rockfish harvest. In recent times, management measures have been taken to reduce rockfish bycatch, and at the most recent Board of Fish meeting, staff was given new management tools to decrease rockfish bycatch. Moving on to shellfish in Prince William Sound. This might be one of our better known commercial fisheries as vessels depart and land in and out of Whittier. Prince William Sound spot shrimp are the northern extent of spot shrimp populations. They have a lifespan of 7 to 10 years old and sexually mature around 3 to 5 years old. They reach a marketable size at 3 to 4 and are petandrous hermaphrodites, meaning that they begin life as males and later transition to females. This occurs between 5 and 6 years old. We conduct an annual spot shrimp pot survey every year on the research vessel Solstice since 1992. This occurs in mid-October. On our survey, we collect information such as catch per unit of effort, sex, size, and presence of egg-bearing females. This data goes into our surplus production model and allows us to set harvest limits. Here, I have a figure of survey CPUE from 1992 through 2024. You can see that CPUE increased from 1999 to 2008, and then again from 2010 through 2020. The stock was at a very high rate of productivity, well above carrying capacity. You can see that CPUE began to decline in 2021 through 2023 as the stock responded to being over carrying capacity. In 2024, there's a slight uptick. We have continued to expand our understanding of shrimp and allow us to inform model updates. Currently, we now understand that we can provide harvest opportunities at lower stock abundances and still remain sustainable. To wrap up, I want to touch on our port sampling program. It's vital for collecting fishery-dependent data from commercial harvest. It plays a crucial role in sustaining our fisheries. It allows us to gather information on stock health, biological composition, fishing effort, and it is cost-effective. I have a table here on the lower right hand of the screen highlighting the number of samples that we've collected here in Prince William Sound from the inception of our port sampling program. Pollock has the most, at 34,290 lengths collected and almost 20,000 sex determinations and otoliths collected for age determination. And because our groundfish and shellfish fisheries span the entire calendar year, so does our port sampling program. Most deliveries occur in Seward, Whittier, and Cordova, and we collect information on length, weight, sex, maturity, and otoliths for age determination later in the lab. We will also collect genetics in some instances, and when logbooks are not required, we conduct dockside interviews with vessel captains. To summarize Prince William Sound groundfish and shellfish fisheries, there's opportunity for seasoned professionals and newcomers to the industry. We have both large and small scale fisheries, allowing for anyone to get involved, like I mentioned with our pollock and our sea cucumber fishery. And there's also year-round harvest. The management of Prince William Sound is dynamic and ensures balance of access, sustainability, and economic opportunity across our fisheries. And with that, I'll take any questions.
On the rockfish bycatch graph, it looked like it dropped dramatically from like 2017 to 2020 and then went back up to a more normal level. Is that because the fisheries changed during those years, or was there a change to record keeping or definitions during that time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll go back and pull that up. That was, you can see the decline in 17, 18, and 19. So that was a direct result of the Pacific cod collapse. And so we didn't have a lot of Pacific cod harvest. So as a result, we had rockfish bycatch reduced. Yeah, thanks.
For the folks online.
Oh, sorry. I don't know a lot about rockfish fishing, but is it an accidental catch if it's not in season, and do they know how to let them go with their closed swim bladder?
Yeah, I'll answer that in the context of commercial fisheries. So there's mandatory retention on all rockfish. A lot of the times these fisheries are prosecuted with gear where the discard mortality rate would be really high for these rockfish species, longline gear. Most of the time when vessels or captains are checking this, the rockfish aren't alive anymore. And then at the most recent Board of Fish meeting, we passed a regulation that allows the release of rockfish in the directed lingcod jig fishery using a deep water release mechanism because that the mortality rate of those fish is thought to be very high. Or low, sorry. Yeah, so there's a high survival rate of those releases, yeah. Yeah.